Hey you guys, so today's video is going to be all about my experience with microblading. So for those of you that don't know, I have been getting my eyebrows microbladed for 3 years now, approx. So I wanted to answer all of your guys' questions about this and explain to you kind of the process, all that good stuff. Let's do this. So first things first, I get my eyebrows done by Shaughnessy at Studio Sashiko. She's phenomenal. If you're from Vancouver, you've probably heard that name a million times because she's a legend. She's just really good at what she does. Everyone on her team is fantastic. That entire studio, they just have such phenomenal artists. They do incredible work. So I'm gonna leave all their Instagram and stuff like that down below. You guys can check them out if you are looking for a place, if you're willing to travel. So I'm gonna explain to you guys first kind of like the process of getting it done. I did film a little bit while I was getting it done. So the first thing we do when we go in is we kind of discuss like what I'm going for, if I wanna do it a little thicker and fluffier than last time, if I wanna do it thinner, whatever kind of thing. So we discuss what kind of brows I'm going for. You could always like bring in a picture too if you wanted. Then Shaughnessy goes in and she kind of draws the brows on so we can kind of get an idea of like the shape, the length of the tails, all that kind of crap. And once we say, okay, this is perfect, this is exactly how we want them, then she'll put kind of little dots all the way around, tracing out that area. We'll remove the pencil and then we'll put on our numbing cream. And I look like a lunatic for 15 to 20 minutes. It is the worst part. This numbing cream though, it does the trick, okay? It looks not great. It's not a cute look, I'll be honest, but it does what it needs to do. So then she starts just microblading the hair strokes. It's a great time, and I just sit there and live my life. It takes about maybe like an hour and a half to like 2 hours. Once she's like done, we'll kind of take a look. We'll make sure that I'm liking the looks of them. If I want to add a couple more hairs, if I want to make it look a little bit more like natural, like put some messy hairs in kind of thing. So we'll usually kind of take a peek right at the very end and then do a couple finishing touches and then we're done. She washes the area. She puts a little bit of barrier cream on for my sensitive, tender brows. And then I fucking waltz on out of there. So the healing process is it's a little bit of a process. It is. The first couple days, my brows always look very dark. And a lot of people, when they get their eyebrows microbladed for the first time, or if they see someone else get their eyebrows microbladed, they're like, oh God, what did you do to your face? They look really dark. They look a lot more kind of blocky than they're going to be. And you are like, this is a big mistake. And I want my money back. And then in the next few days after the first couple days, they do start to lighten up a little bit and they will start to peel. So they peel for a few days. They can peel a little bit longer than that. I take typically a little bit longer to heal from like the peeling stage than others from what I've read online and stuff. Don't know why. Just my skin's a bitch, okay? I think we're all aware of that by this point. Then it's kind of a weird stage because when most of the peeling is gone, the color looks almost like it's not there anymore. And there will be certain areas that look more like sharp and you can see the color and it looks like a microblade. And then there's other areas where you're like, I guess the tattoo just didn't work. I guess it's just not happening for me. It's a weird period. So I'm right in the middle of that right now. The front of my brows are like perfect, like no problem at all. The tail end of my brows is where we do like the most kind of work. And that is usually the area that takes the longest to heal on me. So then your eyebrows will completely stop flaking. The color's gonna look lighter for a little bit. And then after that, the color's gonna come back, but it's gonna look a lot softer than like day 2, day 3 kind of thing. Full healing process is, let me check my pamphlet, approximately 6 to 8 weeks. Also, there's a progression with a cat here that Studio Sashiko gives you, and it's the cat's eyebrows. Okay, so I asked you guys what kind of questions you guys had about microblading, and I'm gonna fucking nail through them right now. The first question is always, how much do they cost? This is gonna be completely dependent on where you live, what kind of artist you're going to, how much experience they have, how well known they are, how booked they are, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to vary wildly. It's going to cost hundreds of dollars, I would hope. But usually from what I've seen, it's like 500 to 900 is a pretty safe kind of range of you betting on that. A lot of people are asking why get them, like what's kind of the Why do it? I had seen a ton of people get their eyebrows microbladed and I was like, oh, never happening. I would fucking never get a cosmetic tattoo. I just didn't like the idea of it. I felt like I changed my style too often. I didn't like the idea of getting my eyebrows done and then not being able to like change the appearance of them basically. And then I started using neutral eyeshadows and suddenly it became clear to me the kind of person I was destined to be. No, honestly, I've always had kind of problematic fucking brows. My eyebrows grow in naturally, very, very straight. It just is what it is. I don't know what to say. I did have a plucking phase, like we all did, okay? I'm not special, not anything unique here. I had a plucking phase. I almost plucked out all of my eyebrows. I don't know what to say. And it's never been the same, so. There you have it. So I've always had a hard time with my brows. I don't know why. It's just something that takes the longest out of my makeup routine. It's a huge fucking pain in the ass. It's the thing that I like to have done the most. Like even if I'm not wearing makeup, I am wearing brows. It's rare that I go out without anything on my eyebrows. Like usually I will put like a brow gel through or something like that. So it got to a point where I was like, ugh, like maybe I would like something done. I don't know. And then this was literally like a prophecy waiting to be fulfilled. Every fucking time I got my nails done, some bitch just had her eyebrows microbladed by Shaughnessy. And I'd always be looking at her out of my peripherals like this. And I'd be like, damn, that chick has nice eyebrows. And then she'd start chit-chatting about having her eyebrows done. And it was always done by Shaughnessy. I think that happened like 3 times on 3 separate occasions. And I was like, okay, you know what? This is rude now, and maybe I'm gonna get my eyebrows microbladed. So I did. I went into Shaughnessy and I got my eyebrows microbladed for the first time like 3 years ago, and I was shitting my pants, quite frankly. I went very, very natural that first time. I wanted to do kind of like a lighter color. I didn't want to make them really thick. I didn't want to do any kind of hairs that looked like out of place or anything like that. Like I wanted clean, super simple, really light brows. I loved them. I loved how they looked, and I really was like super, super happy with them, but they did fade a lot quicker on me because I did choose to do them so naturally. This is what I really, really like about microblading versus tattooing, is that microblading fades like skin. It doesn't look like shit. It doesn't turn super red. It doesn't turn blue. It doesn't turn any weird color. It just slowly fades, and then you get them touched up. And so I really personally like that, because the thing that I don't like about the idea of cosmetic tattoo is that I'm gonna do something that I wanted done in my 20s, and then I'm gonna be in my 40s and I'm gonna be like, what happened? Why did you do that to our face? And I won't have answers. So I like the fact that they do fade a little bit quicker. It's to each your own, you know what I mean? There's going to be people that feel like that's not worth the investment because they don't want it to fade at all. If you're on top of your touch-ups and stuff like that, you're not going to get a ton of fading. There's also some like environmental factors. Like if you're out in the sun all the time, of course they're gonna fade quicker, just like anything else. If you use like a ton of AHAs and stuff like that, that will also make them lighten up a little bit faster. So for me, I have so much acne scarring that I do use a ton of those kinds of like chemical exfoliants and stuff. So my eyebrows naturally, they don't last as long as other people's do. Definitely after a year, I'm like ready to go back in and like get them kind of like redone. But some people can totally like make them last way longer than that. Wow, I don't know how to wrap anything up. Just in general, they make my life a lot easier and I really like the look of them. So that's why I get them done. Someone said, is it worth it? For me personally, yes, I feel like it's worth it. I feel like everything that I just said. It's way quicker and easier for me to do my makeup in the morning and stuff. I feel more confident, and I don't feel like I have to do my brows, especially if I'm wearing like lighter makeup. Like for makeup like today, I would kind of fill in my brows and make them a little bit more dramatic. But for days where I'm wearing lighter makeup like I normally would wear, I literally do nothing to my brows. I might put like a clear brow gel through them or something just to hold like hairs in place. But otherwise, no. Someone said, how much does it hurt? So I think this depends on your artist. With Shaughnessy, I would say the pain is like a 2 out of 10 maybe. We do put that numbing cream on and it is like quite strong. Towards like the end of my appointment, I literally can't feel anything at all. The first few strokes, like maybe for the first like 10-15 minutes of it kind of thing, I do feel a little bit more than I do towards the tail end, but it basically just feels like getting your eyebrows plucked. Like it's not anything that's like really, really painful or really hard or like brutal to sit through. It's fun. The weirdest part of it is the noise. I don't even know how to describe it. It is the most bizarre noise ever. Like it just sounds like, I can't replicate it. It's the most bizarre noise. That's the weirdest part about getting your eyebrows done. Hands down. Someone asked if you can't get your eyebrows wet for 2 weeks. Is this true? You do want to avoid like super heavy sweating, like facing the shower and letting it like rain on your eyebrows, and like swimming in a pool. You can get them wet, but you just don't want to be like having them like soaked in water for like prolonged periods. It can just make the microblading look a little bit more blurry, so if you want nice crisp lines, it's just better to keep them dry. Obviously you can take showers and all that kind of shit, but like just don't do hot yoga for 2 weeks. It's not that big of a deal. I do though, like because it tells me on my aftercare instructions, I do like take a wet little cotton thing and I just sweep through my eyebrows a few times a day, and I apply the barrier cream that the studio gives out and stuff like that while it's healing. So, I mean, you get it, it's fine. Someone said, the peeling part, is it really noticeable? Like, would I not be able to go to work? Like, it really depends. Some people, first of all, get super, super itchy when it's peeling. I've never had a huge issue with this. Like, I usually have one day where I'm like, like I just want to like give it a little scratch, just a little baby scratch. But other than that, like I don't have like this huge problem with it being super itchy, and I do have quite dry skin. So I would think that I would be the itchier of clients. I don't know. Do I think that you can't go to work? Oh my God, of course not. You can absolutely go to work. It's not that like drastic. It's not like things are gonna be like, like falling all over your desk and shit. It's noticeable if you're like looking for it. And I think that, let's say you didn't have a ton of brow hair to begin with, which like I do have quite a bit of brow hair kicking around. So it's a lot less noticeable on someone like me, for instance. Like I've been filming while I've been healing and stuff, and I don't know, maybe you guys thought I looked like shit, but I thought it looked okay. If you had like no brow hair, maybe it would be a little bit more noticeable because of that, and you can't peel it. You can't do it. You just have to let it naturally spread its wings, man. You can't rush the process. So I don't think that it's incredibly noticeable. I think that there's some people that it may be more noticeable on, but regardless, I can't picture it being something where you couldn't be at work unless you were like just really insecure about your eyebrows. I don't know. So a lot of people are asking the main difference between microblading and tattooing. So tattooing and microblading uses different inks, I believe. And tattooing is done with like a tattoo gun. Microblading is done with a microblade. It looks like a little X-Acto knife with little ridges in it. And that's what it is. Someone said, how long do they last? How do they fade? And like, how is the color when they fade? Depends on the person. Most people go back for like a touch-up or a refresher, like every 1 to 2 years kind of thing. I go in probably closer to every year rather than waiting to like push it a little bit further than that, just because I do things that make them fade. Basically, I'm not super, super great with being like, no, not my eyebrows. There's many days where like I'm putting makeup on and I'm taking it off multiple times off my eyebrows and stuff like that. I'm out in the sun living my life. I do use a lot of AHAs. I use a lot of skincare in general and stuff like that. So different things like that will make them fade a little bit quicker. They fade fantastically well. Like they don't look fucked up. They don't look weird. They don't look like some odd color like I was saying before. They just fade super naturally. Someone asked how the ink color is for blonde hair. Does it look like way too red? Totally fine. I forgot to mention this, but Shaughnessy will mix up a color and then she'll kind of put like a little dot on my forehead so we can kind of see how it looks on my skin, and we'll approve the color or not kind of thing and then go from there. I've never had my brows done and been like, ooh, that's like no, that's not good. And I've been blonde. Yeah, I've been blonde basically every time I've gotten them done. The second time that I got them done, I had like a little bit more of like kind of a brown situation happening at the root, but I still was predominantly blonde, and I've never had a problem with them looking like really, really coppery or red or anything. So totally fine in that regard, as long as like your artist hopefully has good colors for blondes. Someone said, do you still fill them in? Well, it depends. If I'm wearing makeup like this, yeah, I will fill them in, just because I like to make them look a little bit more dramatic and stuff to balance out a more dramatic makeup look. If I'm doing a more natural makeup look, sometimes no, I might throw on like a colored brow gel or something like that just to make them look a little fluffier. So I would say like 50% of the time I fill them in, 50% of the time I don't. I do really love how much easier it is to fill in my brows when I have them microbladed, because it's like the outline's there, babe. You know, you just gotta trace it. No problem. So much easier, so much quicker. It's not this big production doing my brows. Makes it kind of fun. I'm like, I got some lines to color in now. Someone asked who shouldn't get them. Such a great question. I would say don't get them if you prefer a really, really, really dramatic brow. And I don't mean dramatic as in like super fluffy, like Cara Delevingne thing. I mean dramatic as in like you like Instagram carved out brows kind of thing, because I don't think you'll be as happy with the results. If you like a more like natural looking brow, if you want a more fluffy looking brow or something like that, I think that you will probably be way happier with how they turn out. So for me, I have really stepped away from doing more dramatic brows. I like a more natural brow. I don't care if it looks perfectly clean or anything like that. So I'm a good candidate by my own accord. I mean, that's the only kind of person I could really think of that wouldn't maybe love them. Just because if you were paying like hundreds of dollars to get your eyebrows microbladed and then going over top of them with like dip brow or something, then I think that you wouldn't really get the effect of the microblade anyways, so who cares, you know? Someone said, how many sessions does it take to do them? So I've never had to like go back after my first appointment, like in the next couple weeks or anything like that to get a touch up. I usually do it once and then do it again in a year sort of thing. So my sessions are always one hit, one kill. Some people like don't take the ink as easily and stuff, or there's some areas that may not take the ink as easily, and so some people do go back for a touch-up after like a few weeks sort of thing. But for me, yeah, I just took one session. And the last question was, is there any swelling? I think there's a little bit of swelling for me personally right after. It looks just a tiny bit swollen, but like it's not anything crazy. Like I could totally just like go out for dinner after and be fine. And it doesn't swell on me throughout the healing process at all. But everyone's different. Like there's some people that get lip injections done and they swell up like they're allergic to it. And there's other people that get lip injections and carry on about their day. So I think everybody's body is different. But for me personally, no, I haven't experienced any swelling. So you guys, that's the sitch. I love my eyebrows, personally. And I hope that I answered a question if you had questions about microblading that had not previously been answered. I mean, this is the internet. Probably the answer was there, and this was an unnecessary video, but it's content, okay? Thank you to Shaughnessy for delivering some nice brows. You'll get to see these bad boys in their full glory for a year or more. Thank you to you guys for hanging out and watching. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.